Hello and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about the big changes in leadership happening at ArenaNet and how it's going to affect us, the players of Guild Wars 2. I waited a couple of days to make this video because I wanted to kind of settle my hype and think about it in a more logical, analytical fashion. A post was put up on the 2nd of July. The title of that post is ArenaNet Studio Update July 2021. Links below directly to the official forum so you can peruse it at your leisure. So, Colin Johanson has returned to the studio as a studio director alongside John Taylor. They will be having a dual role for this, splitting the burden, maybe two heads better than one type of ethos, along with Josh Davis, who is also returned as the lead of live operations. So what does this mean for the game? What does it mean for the community? My thoughts on this. So Teapot specifically was fairly hyped up with the rebirth of Guild Wars 2, and 2022 will be ArenaNet's year and the game is going to be reborn Final Fantasy style. And I genuinely want to get on that hype train, but I'm a bit of a rationalist. So Colin is a great developer. He started out a very long time ago in the original franchises. I know that he developed the questline that first introduced me to the game. So back in Prophecies, there's a quest to find a flute for Gwen. And this is a questline that actually hooked me in because it was so sweet and interesting and totally offbeat for the kind of murder hobo games that you normally associate with MMOs. I have a lot of respect for him as a game developer, thinking outside the box. And of course, if we look at Guild Wars, it's arguably one of the best MMOs out there, but it's unsung because it had problems after launch with content flow, and they had lots of ideas. They wanted to have unique one-off content that wasn't repeatable, and that ethos didn't work for the community. We wanted to be able to go back and re-experience content again and again. So they like to experiment when they get it right. For example, the fantastic, brilliant mount system, which is a genre leader as far as I'm concerned. Never had more fun just traversing the world than I have in Guild Wars 2. It is fantastic. So when they get it right, it is wonderful. But when they get it wrong, in the past, what's happened is they throw a feature into the game, we don't like it, and they just drop it. They don't iterate, they don't take player feedback, they just drop it and move on to the next feature to see if we like that one. And I think that that's a problem, and I think that they think that's the problem too, reading this post, because it seems that what they're going to do is they're going to introduce new features in a beta form, in a raw form, have us play the content, get our feedback as a community, and then iterate on it so that we get what we want. And because they're giving us what we want, they get our loyalty, our support, and we open our purse for them, which is a fair exchange, I think. So is that a good thing? Yes. Do I think Colin and John are going to improve the gameplay immensely? Yes. And after the Icebrood saga and its unfortunate failings, I am personally happy to wait to have a booming, stonking, kicking the front door down expansion that brings old players back and gets new players into the game. Because there certainly is, with WoW's collapse, a vacuum at the moment. Now, a lot of people are going to Final Fantasy. I love that game. I'm going to be doing some game guides for it, but a lot of the problems or a lot of the complaints that you will hear from the community, and certainly me personally, I have a lot of complaints about the gem store. And I don't know that Colin and John or even Josh are going to have any say over that. I think there's a definite separation of church and state, the game and the game experience and the monetization. And I think there's a iron wall of separation between the two, because if you take a look at the staff list on the wiki, you will see that a gentleman called Randall Price is the Senior Vice President of Global Business. And I popped onto LinkedIn. So this is available everywhere. You can see it if you have a profile on LinkedIn. This gentleman is not hiding his job title under a bushel, and it says that he oversees global strategy, business development, marketing, finance and accounting, monetization, community communication, blah, blah, blah. But the one that really gets us is the monetization. And a lot of the community, me heavily included, is not happy with how the monetization is affecting the game. So I don't know that anything can be done by John or Colin about that. But what's wrong with the gem store? And if you're a Guild Wars player, you probably already know. So, issues I have with the gem store. Living World episodes should not be on there. If you have bought the Heart of Thorns expansion, or you've bought the Path of Fire expansion, which includes the Heart of Thorns content, then you should have access to all Living World content automatically. You should not be punished for being late to the game. You should be welcomed, and you should have access to all that without any cost. Now, I know that gems can be bought with gold, but it is extremely difficult for new players to accumulate gold, so this sucks. If there was only one thing that I could remove from the gem store, it would be that. There are many wonderful, beautiful, amazing skins that you can earn through gameplay, but a huge chunk of the visualized, beautiful armors and weapons are stuck on the gem store. And when you add that to the lack of rewards, for example, in the Icebrood Saga, and the ridiculous amount of achievement hoops you have to jump through to get any rewards, specifically Icebrood Saga, it really it pours salt into the wounds of an already alienated community. So going forward, the monetization has to change, because it is squandering any goodwill the community has towards the franchise by nickel and diming and putting all the shinies behind a big paywall. I don't like it. I don't know what they can do about it. Maybe someone can talk to Mr. Price and tell him that too much monetization is actually driving players away and their wallets are leaving with them. So overall, what I would like to see in regards to the gem store is just less stuff on there. And if you think about games that have actually succeeded with having a real money cash store, Final Fantasy springs to mind. Final Fantasy are doing a lot of things right. So Final Fantasy has seasonal quest rewards that you can get in game, but if you are not around for the winter festival rewards or the Easter egg hunts that they have, or the different Japanese festivals that go on in game, if you miss those, you can buy those rewards for a very small amount of cash, £3 or £4 on the mug station. That's the way to do it. There are mounts that you can buy, but there are many, 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 many more beautiful mount skins in the game. There are a few on the cash shop, but the balance is massive amounts in game, few specialized ones on the cash shop. This is the way to do it, giving your players the opportunity to get items without fleecing them and impoverishing the game for rewards to increase the cash shop. So overall, do I think that Colin and John's taking over of the studio is going to be beneficial for gameplay? Yes, I do, 100%. 100%. And them making the tough decision to delay the expansion is perfect. And them asking for feedback and being willing to have a conversation, a collaboration with the community who supports the game, this is all wonderful and great. But if they don't sort out the monetization, if they don't chain that beast, it is going to devour the game. That's what I think. I understand that there is a necessity to fund it. I want all the devs to have a great salary package. They deserve security. They deserve a decent living wage. That is not the issue. The issue is, how do you do it without nickel and diming the community and alienating them? And also, I mean, obviously I'd like to see the end of Black Lion chess, because I don't like loot boxes. Whether you like the Russian roulette of it or not, let's face it, it's gambling, and eventually governments are going to cotton on to the fact that they are putting gambling systems in games where 12-year-old children can play them. Eventually, they're going to have to be removed, so sooner rather than later, I would imagine. So let's talk about guild alliances. In the original franchise, there were guild alliances, and they spanned the entirety of the game. So you could be in a small family guild, but because you want to do bigger content, in the original game you could join an alliance. An alliance is a sort of stage of separation so that you can collaborate with trusted players in game without having all the guild politics which comes from a large group of people. That's why I think a lot of veteran players coming over from the campaigns were quite surprised when it wasn't a feature, because it worked so well. Now, yes, of course, in the original game there was occasionally a bit of inter-alliance dramas, and fiefdoms were lost and won, as it were, but it worked quite well. In the new iteration of alliances, it seems like they're solely focusing on World v World, which I think is a bit of a disappointment for the larger community. I think that World v World players are going to be cheering because they can actually form stable, larger groups outside of their small communities, which is a good thing. And also, the devs seem to have realised that World v World is actually an incredible game type that they have completely squandered and not developed, to the detriment of the whole game. So I am super happy that they are going to be focusing or refocusing and showing World v World the love it's deserved on this channel and on many channels. We have been screaming this from the rooftops. It's actually a nice sidestep into PvP for players who are a bit hesitant to jump into that format of gaming, because it does have a PvP, PvE element to it, which allows players to kind of ease their way into that competitive play. I think it's a step in the right direction. Fingers crossed that they come through. Onto the game optimization with DX11. I want to sing this feature's praises, but it should have happened quite some time ago. This is a catch-up feature. They're still a generation behind. What I have hope for is that finally we have community-focused people leading the entire studio, that they will iterate and work on the game architecture and the game performance so that the community can have a better experience. The better experience playing the game, the more players will want to play the game. It's a virtuous cycle. And fingers crossed it actually helps with the ridiculous particle effect issues which lag out everything. I think that this is probably a more downbeat, more reticent review of the blog post. I've been hurt before, dog. I can't commit wholly and I can't jump on that hype train. I'm waving a flag at the station, hoping that it doesn't crash and burn in the distance. I am going to hold my judgment. I'm going to wait and see. I love the community. I want it to soar. I want it to get the love and acknowledgement in the industry that it deserves. It so richly deserves it, despite the, let's say, lackluster Icebrood Saga debacle. Yeah, fingers crossed, eh? Let me know what you think. If you give me enough feedback, if you have topics that you want to talk about, I will scroll through the comments later, and any points or questions that come up, I might do a video. We'll have a little bit of a parasocial conversation about what you guys think. Okay, that's my video. If you liked this video, please do like, share, subscribe, and show some love to Arthur, Why You Need My Name, Cody, Kildare, Cub, Molini, Jolly Joestar, Dark Griever, and all my wondrous, fantabulous Patreons, without whom I would be unable to dedicate the time and resources I do to my content creation. I can never thank you all enough. If you'd like to help support the channel and me, there are links to my Patreon page below, and if you feel like jumping into Guild Wars 2, it is, flaws and all, a beautiful game. There are links to Referrals for the free-to-play game and the Path of Fire expansion, which includes all the content from the Heart of Thorns expansion as well, thanks to the generosity of ArenaNet and their partner program, of whom I am still a very proud affiliate. Using any of these referral links directly supports my channel, but costs you not a penny more. But until we meet again, please stay safe, stay awesome, and thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.